Painkiller Nearly, episode 395. My return.
Your return.
Oh, dude. So last Thursday was quite the day for me, right? Jackie crashed her motorcycle, and she went. I think you guys might have thought she went to the ER. She went to urgent care, got X-rays and all that stuff. But that was like an hour and a half from here, and it was just an exhausting day. And I didn't get her settled in and tucked away until like after 10. I could have attended like the last 45 minutes of the show, but I was like, they'll understand. And then I find out the guest left, and you guys were just doing a 2-man podcast, like damn near Bill Burr style. If I had known, I would have came. I'm sorry.
We didn't mind at all. We just
fine.
talked about a bunch of retarded shit and had a good time. But yeah, we were worried about. I in my head, you know how when someone tells you about an injury, you picture like a cataclysm, like so much worse. I was like, oh my God, like. Will he be around in the next few days? Like, is he going to be staying by her side as they put her back together? And it was her first ride, right?
No. So we've been working on this for a couple of weeks now. It started as in the yard. She hops on one of my bikes and buzzes around. And she was not good at some of the basics. You just put your foot down and you lean to that side. Mm-hmm. Well, the motorcycles are a little too tall for her, so it's harder than you might be imagining because you sort of fall and tip to that side. She can't just flat foot both of them at the same. But she was able to get into gear, get into second gear, steer around the yard, stuff like that. But we decided that because stopping was hard, we went to a bicycle. And she buzzed around the bike for a while, and I don't want to admit that there might have been some arguments along the way. Neither of you have ever tried to teach a loved one to ride a motorcycle or drive, but I was like, let's she was frustrated with herself. Like, I wasn't mean or anything, but I was at my wit's end, but it wasn't like yelling.
I love that. You're just exasperated by
exasperated. I'm like, honey, I've picked up this motorcycle 37 times now. Can you just lean to the side that you have your foot down? Because she'd do this. She'd go to the motorcycle. She'd put her left foot down, then fall to the right. And I'm like, I keep picking this bike up. The clutch lever's broken off. Oh. and it's okay. Look, I bought a new clutch lever. I don't know where it is, but everything's fine. But
take your time putting it on. You'll be riding for a minute.
Were you doing like that George Costanza laugh, exasperated? We're like, she falls again. You're like, ha ha.
we got to a point where let's simplify this, right? Because she's like, there's so much happening at one time. How to go faster on a motorcycle, you pull the throttle. Rah. To me, this is just a thing every 4-year-old boy knows. Mm-hmm. She's like, which way makes the throttle go? You pull it towards you or roll it away from you? And I'm just like, we're starting at the beginning.
You'll know very quickly which way it is.
right. I was anyway.
That's frustrating because it's like, you're holding it. Why are you asking me the things that you can find out on your own? There's so many things that I have to.
Right,
I have to tell you so many things. This one
she was doing that girl thing where she's in tears, and I'm like, if I was any other instructor, would you be crying right now? And she's like, no. Why do I have to deal with this?
Yeah,
that is some Sigma male behavior.
I don't know what that means, but I was like, let's simplify it. I would just get on the back of the motorcycle and push her, push. I'm exhausted.
Wait a minute.
Well, he'd already picked it up 40 times.
I'm starting to wonder how Jackie really got hurt.
There was a point where I was pushing her on the bike and she wouldn't go straight. She's just turning all over the place. And I'm like, if you can't go straight, this is just so ground zero. So I put her on a bicycle. And that actually helped. She got a lot of bike time. She's always able to stop and put her foot down on any side she chose, right? Left, left, it's cool. She took the motorcycle safety foundation course that Kyle had taken. The thing is, in her experience, they didn't spend a lot of time teaching and drilling and moving slowly. It was almost like you had to be able to do this stuff already and just demonstrate it for them practically. She'd drill it for her. We got her a personalized instructor, and apparently she was killing it. The joke was that she was going to come back to the house and teach me how to ride. She's in 5th gear. She's buzzing around. It's in a giant sand lot. and she's just buzzing around on this beach, doing a thing, having fun. And eventually she was supposed to, I guess, swerve in between trees, and she hit a tree and ricocheted off to another tree. I think it was the first one. She hit her shoulder and then fell, and really the only notable damage is her shoulder. Her ribs hurt a little bit, her hand hurts a little bit, and she got a bump on the thigh. She's got a bruise that it's not quite Taylor's butt bruise, but you look at it and be like, yeah, that's no joke. That's it. That was a good hit. But
did she break her collarbone? Was it broken?
No. So here's a picture of it. The collarbone is displaced. It's not at all where it's supposed to go. So Zach, hold the mouse still for a second. A little to the left. Right about there is where it's supposed to be. And so they need to take that big shoulder bone thing, move it to the left, put the collarbone in the right spot, and then reattach 4 ligaments. So this is a grade 5 AC separation. The C is, what's the collarbone called? Clavicle.
Yeah.
It's like anti-clavicle or something like that. I forget, but this is a grade C.
Clavicle is what she did.
Right? I forget what the A is for. I'm messing it up. But it's a grade 5.
Wow, Woody, your wife has incredibly symmetrical ribs, I just want to say. Hope that's not too far.
That's brutal. I noticed the note on there that was like, patient is leaving clothes on because of insane pain or like severe
did
pain.
it say that?
Yeah, because I know like apparently that your collarbone, your clavicle is like totally disproportionately painful to break for what it is. Like people will, like I said it before, the kid on my hockey team when I was like 13, he broke his clavicle. He was vomiting afterward. He turned green and was throwing up. It was his actually shattered in half, but like it's unbelievably painful. So that really sucks. I'm glad she's doing better.
So
yeah. Well, that's going to be surgery. So
yeah,
surgery is Friday, so the day after the show.
Okay.
And basically they're gonna drill a hole through the collarbone and whatever it goes to, attach them by rubber band, reattach the 4 torn ligaments, and then a sling for 6 weeks and PT for 6 more.
Orthoscopic thing, like up through like.
Yeah, he is doing it arthroscopically. It's right here. There'll be a small little incision, and the surgeon's good. He trains with plastic surgeons, so he's like, write me a letter to remind me, and we'll sew it up just like the plastics would.
Yeah.
And
hey Doc, how about you just take that letter and jot it down for life?
That was like, does anybody want the big scar? Like, who chooses that option? But okay.
Who's special order in the Frankenstein mode?
While you're on me, go ahead and give me one of those cool eyebrow scars. It's like we're operating on your clavicle, sir.
Give me a Jon Snow right here.
Yeah. So it should be really cool. The prognosis for this kind of injury is really good. They tend to have full recovery.
That's good.
It kind of sucks, and the 12 weeks is kind of long, but it is what it is. And
it'd be time for a new bike in 12.
You got to be
weeks.
like, but part of you're like, it could have been so much worse than that. It's got to be your thought, right?
I don't know. If she's putting around in a sand lot with like trees the size of your wrist, it couldn't have gone much worse.
I was imagining much larger trees.
She had driven out to sea.
I mean, she could have smacked her head on there instead of.
She's got a helmet.
Yeah.
Trees are robust.
Trees are robust. Look, the potential to go really fast into a big tree is there, but what do you say? It was the first time she dropped the bike all day, actually, and I'm like, how'd you drop my bikes constantly, baby? What's it?
well, I wouldn't want to drop his bike.
Right.
You've got so many.
Swap it out.
If people know their bikes, for the 1% of you, Honda CRF 150L is what she was on. It's a small bike you might put a kid on, and it just is a little lighter, a little easier to touch the ground than anything I own.
Yeah.
So we might get something in that class. She still wants to ride. She's like bummed that she's not making progress. I was wondering where you guys would land on that, because I think there's got to be a sizable fraction of people listening to this who are like, she's a 49-year-old mom. She has no right to do anything interesting. Take up quilting. Whereas I'm more like, oh yeah, if you do shit, this just happens every so often.
Y'all have savings and in-laws. Have fun.
That's part of the risk of doing fun things. You might get hurt from time to time.
I've said before, like there's a never broke a bone subreddit. And I'm like, that's the never did a thing subreddit. You take up flying and motorcycles and shit. Like, go into rock climbing. You'll break some bones, but you'll have done some shit. So
either subscribe, donate,
Can't take this shit no more, man.
or get the fuck out.